Hello trekkers, so as you must be knowing, the winter trekking season is right around the corner and we get many questions and there's a lot of confusion about which route to take for the Kedarkantha trek. And there are about four routes that can be taken for Kedarkantha, but we highly recommend the Juda Ka Talab route. And today I'm sitting with Sandeep, who's done this trek a lot of times, and he takes care of the operations here at Trek the Himalayas as well. And so Sandeep, I was wondering that since we highly recommend Juda Ka Talab, and there are other routes as well. So what is your take on that?
Hello trekkers. Yatin, it's a genuine question a trekker might have, like which route they should follow. So the route which we take, it's start from Sakri. Sakri is our base camp. Then we go to Juda Ka Talab, that's our first campsite. Then we go to Kedarkantha base camp, it's last campsite. From there we summit and come back to Hargaon, it's our third camp, and the treks end at Sakri. So before going ahead, I just want to know, like, what are your expectations from Kedarkantha peak trek? You just want to experience the summit, or you want an experience of complete winter Himalayan trek?
See Sandeep, if you put it that way, then I would definitely like to go for a complete winter Himalayan trek experience. But I'm still not convinced about the routes, because on any winter trek, I would definitely find snow on the slopes. I would be camping in the wilderness, trekking through the forest. I'd like to, I would be getting to see the 360-degree views on the summit. So how does it make it different on the different routes that are there for the Kedarkantha trek?
And what about Juda Ka Talab? I can bet you won't get that type of lake in any other route.
Yeah, that is there. Because in Juda Ka Talab, that is a frozen alpine lake, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that is not there on any other routes.
Yet in the best part about this Sakri route is you just camp next to an alpine lake which is in Juda Ka Talab, and it freezes in winters. Just imagine you are camping next to a lake which is surrounded by forest and all over snow. That experience, even closer to that experience, you won't get in any other route. So tell me one thing, like, what do you look for a campsite in of a trek?
See, for the campsites, I love it when there's some sort of diversity in the campsites, and if I get to see different landscapes on every other day, that makes the trek a bit more interesting, I feel.
Exactly, this diversity you won't find in any other route. When you go through Sakri route, you'll get every time a new campsite. Like first day you camp next to the lake, second day it's on the meadow, third day it's in dense forest. But if you follow some other routes, so everyday campsite will be same, like either it will be in a dense forest or there will be some clearing and you will do camp here and there only. And when you follow other routes, you can see only this Rupin Valley and Supin Valley. But with this Sakri route, you will see Rupin Valley, Supin Valley, Harkidun Valley, Black Peak, Sargaoni from day one itself.
I get your point, Sandeep, and in case even if the weather goes bad during the summit push, and we get sort of like a 15 to 20 minutes window, sometimes half an hour window if the weather permits. But in case if that sort of situation arises, then it'll be such a disheartening experience for the trekkers, because for those brief 20 to 30 minutes they won't be able to see the splendid views that the peak has to offer. And that would be a bummer, I guess.
That's what I'm talking about. See, taking Sakri route means if summit does not happen, you won't have that regret, because for all 5 days you experience that view. You experience Harkidun, Black Peak, Sargaroni, everything you experience. So let's say even if summit does not happen, or even on a summit day it's a cloudy day, so you won't have that regret. Like at the end you will be satisfied. But with other routes, you have to wait for the summit to see all the views, and that lasts for half an hour or 30 minutes. And the peaks changes their color whole day, because as sun moves, so they changes their color. So Sakri route allow you to experience all the colors. That's why we consider Sakri as a complete Himalayan winter trek.
Sandeep, I've also heard that apparently the other routes are more isolated as compared to the Sakri route that we usually take.
One should not call other route completely isolated. Rather, you can call them a less crowded. I'll tell you the calculation. Every company take their fixed departures, and in each fixed departure they take 25 people. And to manage all that 25 people, you need at least 15 staff members, which includes your guide, porters, cooks, helpers, mule owners. So lots of staffs you need for the operations. So almost there will be a 40 people in one batch, and it's not a circle track, it's a one-way track. So you will see like you are going up, and those who have submitted, they are coming down. So both the team sometimes do camping next to each other. So you can expect 60 to 70 or 80 people in one campsite. So it is less crowded. Yes, I want to know one thing. Let's say if you want to go to Goa, right? So which month will you choose? June month, which is less crowded, or a December, which is more crowded?
See, Sandeep, I would definitely book my trip in December only for Goa, and I mean, there's no point of going to Goa if not in December, right?
Yes, that's the exactly same case with the Kedarkata. There is no point choosing other route where you cannot live your experience. That's why Sakri route is more preferable and it's more crowded. See, tell me one thing. You have been to Sakri because you have done Harkidun, you have done Bali Pass, so you are aware about that place also. Tell me honestly, if you want to go to Kedarkata with your family or friends, which route you choose personally?
See, if I'm going with my friends or family, I mean, I would most definitely choose the Sakri route only because I know that in case if if there's any kind of medical situation that arises or an emergency evacuation has to be done, I know that I will definitely find vehicles and people around Sakri. It'll be much easier to descend, and I'll be able to get the medical facilities very easily from there. And on top of that, Sakri also offers to be a great trekking hub because there are so many routes that open up from Sakri. So in case if you forget any trekking supplies or any equipments, you can rent it out from there. You can even buy it from there. So it's a add-on for trekkers, and it's kind of a bonus. And I don't think these kind of facilities are there in any other routes.
Yes, and one more thing I want to mention, it's about accommodations. Other route will offer you homestays, and generally homestays have 2-3 big halls, and every trekker has to manage their the accommodation in that room only. And there is no facility of attached washroom, so there will be one or two common toilets, and all 25-30 people has to use that washroom. But if you take a Sakri route, it's already a trekking hub, so good hotels, good homestays are available there with separate room, attached washroom, and the best part is running hot water will be there, so that you can enjoy your first day and last day in Sakri.
Yes, Sandeep, I agree on this point. After trekking and camping in the wilderness for about 4 to 5 days, and once all the trekkers are returning back, and if they get to use the facilities at a base camp like Sakri, where there are good hotels, there's hot running water, it sort of makes sense because you'll be traveling in a social setup now, and it's sort of expected from anybody to keep up with their hygiene levels. So I think all in all, it sums up that Sakri route sort of offers the complete Himalayan winter trek experience, because just not about the route, there are so many other factors that are involved, like even if you're not able to summit due to the weather or anything like that, you still get to see the views. Then it might be a case where you might have to have a medical evacuation, so there are facilities like that available there, and on top of that you can even rent and buy trekking equipment there. So other than that, I think the trekkers are smart enough to choose their routes and how to prepare for the Kedarkantha trek, right? So all right then, that was a good talk with Sandeep here.
Himalayas.
Yeah. All right. See you guys.